In my opinion, TikTok destroyed and ruined music, specifically rap, in so many ways, and I want to talk about it today. What's going on, y'all? It's willarmani. I hope everybody's having a really positive day today. TikTok was one of the most beneficial things to the music industry, and I'm not going to knock that today. I'm not going to discredit TikTok for everything that I gave to the music industry and rap as a genre. But at the exact same time, it has also hurt and held back so many artists, so many even record labels from creating music that is, and I'm gonna put this in quotations, good. First, I want to really talk about the good old days of TikTok and what I'm going to call the glory days of TikTok, because that really did exist. And between 2020 and we could really argue and say almost up until the whole ban, which we'll get into, in 2020, you had songs like Mood, Ian Dior, and 24 Karat Golden blowing up and growing these artists who, first off, people knew Ian Dior, but 24 Karat Golden was undiscovered. So when a song was discovered like that and became viral so fast, it really allowed people and so many different underground artists even to see how much TikTok can grow artists and how much it could benefit people. And even in modern day examples, we have people like Ice Spice, Four Bats, we can argue and say Yeet and Ian. They would not be who they are today, and they would not, we can really argue and say that they wouldn't even have careers if it wasn't for TikTok pushing them through their algorithm and making their music grow. There's a lack of substance. There's a lack of real substance in the music that we've gotten in the last few years. And I know that this has been felt not just through rap, but through every single genre. But let's just talk about rap for a little bit. There has been a lack of being able to really not just listen to something a few times, but be able to really hold on to what you're listening to and take it with you for the next few years. I'm 22 years old, and I was in high school between 2016 and 2020. In high school, during the SoundCloud days, the early SoundCloud days of Uzi and Trippy and all these different artists, during those times, I was able to listen to music. And maybe this is because I'm old. You guys can argue about that down below, but I don't think I'm getting that old. And I really think the amount of music that you can attach yourself to now has decreased because of TikTok. TikTok prioritizes things that are going to keep you on the app. If your song isn't going to catch people's attention within a few seconds, your song might not ever grow on the platform. Not to say that that's gonna hurt people, because then again, maybe you do have to work on your craft. Maybe you do have to work on catchiness. But some of the best and deepest songs, you have to dive into them. You have to dive into albums and dive into projects. And albums and projects aren't as big as they used to be anymore. People don't want to sit and listen for a long period of time. Will we say that TikTok did that, or will we say that this new generation doesn't want to listen to music as long as we used to? I think it's a little bit of both. But again, this isn't something that we were going to escape. Eventually, this was going to happen. So this could have been any platform, but TikTok is the main platform that a lot of people get their information from. A lot of people get their music from. So when we're getting songs and artists and we're just loading up on songs, we aren't even diving into the artists as much. The substance isn't there anymore because artists don't feel, and a lot of artists, even mainstream artists, they don't feel like they can put their energy into a music. It's like you might as well not, because you're putting all this energy into it, and now first week sales are dropping because not just people who are younger, but older people don't feel like listening to a project anymore. There's no need to put substance into the music, and TikTok definitely helped orchestrate this, which leads me to my next point. TikTok has hurt artist development. Artists aren't able to develop their personalities, develop their character, develop their sound as much as they used to be able to. I remember I was following artists like Trippy, so many different artists, even Juice, early on in their careers, before they had a huge fan base. And you can see over time, they didn't sound the way that they did when they hit the mainstream. They sounded so much rougher, so much rawer. And not to say that we need that, but at the exact same time, what I'm trying to say is there was a level of an artist having to really mold themselves and create their own sound so that they could stand out. Let's just say TikTok pushes you and your song blows up. That's really cool and good for you. Again, this is not a bad thing, but for younger artists, when these artists blow up, and I won't name anybody specifically, but when these artists blow up, it prevents them from getting a chance to really develop their sound. It prevents them from really being able to develop what people will hear them as. But then as the artist gets older, you might be stuck in a loop, and it's preventing music from evolving. Artists aren't able to develop as much because as soon as you get a quick hit, you want to ride that success and you want to make sure that you can keep it too, which leads me to the rise of lookalike artists. The amount of artists who sound identical drives me crazy. TikTok is helping artists grow and helping artists push and helping artists get discovered. I don't think that that's a bad thing at all. I don't think discovery is bad. I think the issue is that because all these artists are blowing up one after the other, artists aren't able to see, oh, I can have my own sound. So many artists are looking at TikTok and they're saying, I make something that's original. If I make something that is unique to me, it may not grow. I've gone through this as an artist myself. Artists are starting to sound alike each other. Even mainstream artists are copying each other. It's really weird because they realize that they need to make something that's gonna go viral, that's gonna catch themselves if they wanna get sales, if they wanna grow. And it's messed up because this hurts artist development, it hurts creativity, and it hurts the ability for artists to really mold their own sound. There's so many artists who sound similar to each other, and the artists who come up, who listen to these artists, they're gonna sound similar, and we can be inspired. You can have inspiration, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you're trying to sound like an artist to the point where people buy presets and they want to buy a certain preset because they want to sound like an artist, we gotta make our own presets. We gotta do our own thing, but that's an entirely different conversation. I can go on about TikTok hurting the music industry and rap for days. I think TikTok benefited us, so I want to bring this back on a positive note. I think TikTok did benefit us, but it did also hurt us in so many different ways that people aren't realizing. For example, the TikTok ban. Nobody is talking about the TikTok ban and why it's really happening. So many creators are saying it's gonna hurt us and it's gonna destroy us, but a lot of people aren't even seeing that the TikTok ban was banned because they feel like we're being spied on. And I guess if anybody wants to spy on us, they really can, and we wouldn't know about it. So you could argue that, but it wasn't trying to be put in place for no reason. In my opinion, TikTok is eventually going to leave, whether it's a ban, whether it is just something that people are tired of, because people were starting to get tired of this platform even before the ban was announced. I think TikTok isn't here to stay. Just like every platform we've had, we could talk about Vine, we could talk about all the different platforms. There's gonna be a point where people get tired of this repetition of we are only gonna push viral moments and quick snippets of things rather than trying to really push creativity and push authenticity, which has been hurt for such a long time since this app. There are benefits to TikTok, there are negatives to TikTok. I don't know what's gonna happen in the future. All I know is that right now we have it. You can't currently download it in app stores, which is to me a sign that eventually we just won't have TikTok. But I want to talk about this in the comments. I want to have discussions with you guys. Let me know what you think down below. I really hope that you enjoyed this discussion and enjoyed this video. I want to make more videos like this. Subscribe if you don't want to miss out on that, and I hope that you guys have a positive day. It's willarmani.